So it begins. Saudi Arabia has now affirmed wholeheartedly that they are absolutely going to start pumping at full capacity, insisting that they'll still profit, even though they won't, and everybody knows it. But that government has a history of telling blatantly obvious lies that everybody knows are lies, and that they also know that everybody knows are lies. But for some reason they want to keep telling the lies anyways, even though they already know that everybody knows it's a lie. Welcome back, everybody, to the third ever Quickfire Energy and Resource podcasts. As is in the name, it's obviously a podcast, so listen, don't watch. If you do want to, you can stare at a still image for, the next 5 to 10 minutes straight, but I wouldn't recommend that for your eyes. So just listen, mute the ads when they come up, but let them play, because I kind of need those. Now, going through things, for anyone who missed the first one of these, or who just isn't aware of the current scenario, oil prices had already been dropping due to reduced demand from the whole coronavirus travel reductions thing. And then at the most recent OPEC meeting, Saudi Arabia and Russia kind of got into a childish fight. Both of them were constantly one-upping each other, or rather one-downing each other with price claims. Starting with Russia claiming that they're perfectly fine and can easily profit at $50 a barrel and could even be fine all the way down to $40 a barrel. Saudi Arabia is like, yeah, we'll be fine at 30. And Russia's like, oh yeah, well, we'll still be fine at 25. Saudi Arabia's like, yeah, we'll still be fine at 20. Kind of realized they were getting retarded once they started claiming 15. And I was kind of hoping they would snap back out of it and not actually dive headlong in. But it looks like at least Saudi Arabia is diving headlong in, and they are going to start overproducing and pressing their absolute maximum production capacity to flood the market and try to keep oil prices as down as possible, as because of their threats and the reduced demand, oil prices had fallen down into the lower 30s in dollars per barrel, and as of this recording are actually down to around $29 per barrel. Which, as I mentioned in the first one of these, if these prices are prolonged, which now it looks like they will be, even if they're the result of an oversupply, will inevitably down the road actually cause a supply problem. As the industry kind of needs prices to be not really low for them to, have enough excess money to be able to keep affording further exploration and development. So in the now apparently likely event that these prices continue forward, that is essentially going to pull both the rug and the floorboards out from under any further exploration efforts. Now, apart from that, earlier today, the U.S. shale data, along with Norway's oil production data, did release. So I was also going to throw that out for you really quick. U.S. natural gas production, I'm not saying it's peaking, but it might actually be peaking before I expected it was going to. It had gotten up to about 109 billion cubic feet per day a few months ago. However, since then, it's been going down and is now back down to 106 billion cubic feet per day. So it may be a temporary stop, or this might actually be the U.S. natural gas production peak before I thought it was going to. I was initially expecting it to come in another couple or another few years, probably up in the 100 and teens in terms of billion cubic feet per day. We'll have to wait a further amount of time to actually see if it keeps going down or not. But going down the list quickly, the Permian Shale, a triple stack of shale formations in West Texas and eastern New Mexico, declined over the past month. Its oil production dropped from 4.82 down to 4.75 million barrels per day as of the end of February. However, its natural gas production surprisingly kept going up. Its natural gas production climbed up from 16.79 up to 16.96 billion cubic feet per day. The Appalachia Shale in the eastern U.S., a massive natural gas shale, had been climbing up and had gotten up towards 34 billion cubic feet per day, but since then has been falling, climbing back up a little bit, then falling again, climbing climbing back up a little bit, but not quite reaching 34, then falling back down again. Over the last month, it fell again from 33.35 down to 32.79 billion cubic feet per day. The Haynesville natural gas shale, located under the tri-state border of Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, it was the only other one to actually increase natural gas production. And only by a little bit at that, climbing from 12.41 up to 12.44 billion cubic feet per day. The Bakken shale, up in North Dakota and Montana, its oil production remained flat at 1.47 million barrels per day over the course of the past month, and its natural gas production hasn't really gone anywhere for a long time. It did decline a tiny bit over this past month from 3.08 down to 3.07 billion cubic feet per day. Eagle Ford shale in eastern Texas continues its decline, down from 1.37 to 1.35 million barrels per day, and its natural gas production dropping from 6.88 down to 6.85 billion cubic feet per day. The Anadarko shale, which underlies a huge portion of Oklahoma, declined in both as well, from 536,000 barrels per day down to 527,000, and its natural gas production dropped from 7.4 down to 7.34 billion cubic feet per day. The Niobrara shale, out at the base of the Rockies, declined a tiny bit from 777,000 barrels per day down to 774, and its natural gas production dropped from 5.72 down to 5.71. And the Barnett shale, a smaller natural gas shale in north central Texas, it peaked in production earlier, way back in 2012, up towards 6 billion cubic feet per day, and is down all the way to only 2.84. And I did mention Norway's data came out as well. After bringing online that new large field, they brought themselves back up from being down to usually around 1.5 million barrels per day several months ago, up to around 2 million barrels per day on average over the past few months now. Last month they had fallen back below that, but this month they've come back up and are all the way up at 2.1 million barrels per day, and have thus put themselves back up to a 10-to-1 production versus consumption ratio, as given Norway's small population size, their domestic oil consumption only tends to be around 200,000 barrels a day. So that's about it for this one. Thanks everybody for listening. Obviously like if you enjoyed listening, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, subscribe to my other channel so I can hopefully get that one up to 1,000 subs and get that one monetized too. Although I also still need watch hours on that one, because there is a watch hour threshold you have to cross as well. Or if you want to, and preferably only if you can actually afford to, you can just send money through either PayPal or Patreon. Links for everything are in both the description and the pinned comment that I'll make. Thank you to all, and may God bless every single one of you. I will see you all around next time.